Jamie, we are seeing single digits still this morning with sub-zero feels like temperatures. And as we head through the next couple days, we will be looking windy as we head towards Sunday, and then going to be looking at a storm offshore. But for right now, not looking at any impacts here at home. Taking a look at live look outside Sugarloaf Mountain, nice and clear. Couple snow flurries moving in, but you see temperatures all the way from the coastline towards the mountains. Extremely cold. We're actually at 17 below in Freiburg, and we are seeing 5 below in Portland with current wind chills. Not significant this morning, but winds are going to pick up Sunday, even into your Monday. Here's a look at satellite and radar. Couple clouds up north, but nice and clear close to the coastline, and we will have mostly sunny skies to start with, then a couple clouds moving in as we head towards the afternoon time frame. Let's talk about your highs. We're looking at 10 degrees towards Rangeley, 20 in Freiburg, and 19 in Portland. But here's a look at that offshore storm, a bomb cyclone as internal pressure is going to drop, and it's passing just offshore for us here in Maine. So we'll be talking about the low-level impacts we could be expecting through the weekend, Jamie. All right, partly sunny skies, temperatures only rising into the teens. Current wind chills right now coming in at 5 below in Portland and 17 below in Freiburg, but we actually aren't having much wind, so it feels exactly as cold as it is throughout the state. It feels like 10 below, and it actually is 10 below towards the mid-coast. Taking a live look now at satellite and radar with a couple clouds up north, but for most of today, we will have a good chance for some sun. Any clouds that we will begin to move in as we head towards the afternoon, but single digits through the morning and teens throughout the afternoon hours. Looking at that high of 19 towards Portland, 22 by Wisconsin, 20 in the Lewiston area, 19 in Bethel. Let's talk about the 8-day forecast because we said we have that storm moving offshore and there will be minimal impacts, but what we will be seeing is some windy conditions, and then we'll also see a risk for some coastal flooding with an astronomical high tide. The beginning of the month with some of our tides coming in over 10 feet, especially along downtown Portland. So there could be some minor coastal flooding. Groundhog Day on your Monday, temperatures in the 30s, so a little bit warmer to start the day, but still pretty cold. But right on average, before we dip right back down to temperatures in the 20s as we head throughout the end of the week. Here is that major storm, which is now going to be identified as a bomb cyclone. This means the internal pressure of the storm has dropped or will be dropping 24 millibars between 24 hours, which is showing that rapid intensification. This low pressure quite offshore, but certainly enough to bring waves out to sea upwards of 14 feet, and then waves along the coastline around 6 to 8 feet. So definitely not going to be a boating day out there, especially maybe going lobstering or anything along those lines. But anyone who's going to be seeing maybe some snow impacts, that's going to be the Cape and the Islands near Boston, but still going to be looking at maybe a coating, 2 inches of snow. For us here at home, no snow at all. Maybe a couple flurries will fly. We'll be watching some of the windier conditions with gusts coming out of the north between 20 to 30 miles per hour. And then even throughout Monday, we'll also have some windier conditions. Lows tonight, single digits throughout the state, 3 below in Bethel and 6 below in Freiburg, with highs tomorrow coming in the 20s. Oh yeah, nothing new there, Jamie. Taking a look at temperatures in the single digits, and many of us starting below 0. But here's what we are looking at. We're going to be looking at some winds beginning to pick up as we head towards tomorrow, and even some higher waves and seas as we are looking at a storm offshore that'll bring very minimal impacts here to Maine, hopefully less frigid by the beginning of next week. So here's a look at Sugarloaf Mountain this morning. Couple flurries beginning to fly. Everyone has been loving the ski season, but I'll tell you, if you're heading up to the mountains today, already still 0 degrees in Rangeley, 1 degree in Jackman, 5 below in Portland, and 19 below. I'm shivering just thinking about it in Freiburg. So 12-hour forecast, we will see teens. It's kind of okay, I guess. And then we will be looking at 20s as we head towards tomorrow. So I promise there is some benefit there. We will see 30s by the middle of the week. So satellite and radar looking nice and clear with some clouds up north. And we'll see some more cloud cover towards the afternoon. But for the most part, all of those major impacts from the storm is going to stay offshore. Highs today, only 10 in Rangeley. Grab all your layers if you're heading to the mountains. 19 towards Portland, 20 in Sanford. Here's that storm beginning to develop across the mid-Atlantic, and we'll be talking about those impacts here at home coming up in 10 minutes. But Jamie, good news, we've been watching this pretty closely, and we're honestly getting the best part we could, the best chance for not much of an impact there.
All right, we definitely lucky. That looked lovely with the sun on their face.
Honestly.
I mean, you got to get out and enjoy what you can of the winter. It's here whether we like it or not.
And you know what? We have the sunny skies today, and moving your body when it's cold outside, it's definitely
always
pretty
important.
nice.
And working our brains is important too, Victoria.
All right.
What do we have?
Speaking of working our brains, total trivia time. We were talking about my furry friend that I'm not a big fan of because he's not always accurate. We're going to talk about how accurate Punxsutawney Phil is, what percent of the time. We have some options here, 70%, 50%, 35%, 80%. We have some numbers to think about.
All right, we'll give you the answer on the other side of the break. Don't go away.
Back and be looking at mostly sunny skies as we head throughout today, with a couple clouds moving in along the coastline later throughout the afternoon, but a very cold day with only a high of 19 degrees in Portland. Here's a look at the ocean storm beginning to now develop around the Carolinas. Low pressure beginning to now eventually begin to develop. We're going to be looking at the Carolinas to see the biggest impact from this storm. As it begins to take that easterly turn, we're going to now see minimal impacts for areas of New England and Maine. We've been watching this quite closely. Only going to be looking at some breezy to gusty winds and some higher surf and potentially some storm surge, showing you that system once again. It's going to be passing tomorrow into Monday, and so we aren't going to be looking at any significant snowfall, maybe some flurries, but we are going to be watching the high winds and potential for coastal flooding with the astronomical high tides for the month, Jamie.
Okay, Victoria, thank you.